So if you didn't know, now you know. Not a lot of people know about that. And there you have it, folks, right there. What's going on today, guys? So today's video, basically just going to be covering my Milwaukee M18 chainsaw. It's the, I guess you could call it like the arborist version or whatever. It's got the little hook on the rear. I got it last year. Absolutely love it. Took it to Ardbeg a couple of times. Absolutely crazy, insane amount of power that you get out of the electric motor. Not exactly sure. Doesn't say anything here about the torque or anything like that, but I remember reading up on it, and the torque that's actually on this saw here is with the 16-inch bar specifically, is actually more power than the 18-inch, the single battery unit, at least, like their first and second gen or whatever. I know they have the new big version with the double batteries. You pop 2 Forge batteries in there, and I can't imagine how much power that thing would have. Basically, the only complaint that I really had with the saw itself last year was I only had 2 of these M18 batteries, just your standard extra capacity 5 amp hour Milwaukee Red Lithium. Pretty much your standard big battery that comes with any power tool or kit. I know these came with my impact, my 1/2-inch impact. I got 2 batteries with them, and yeah, they work great, but one thing I did notice is they get really hot really quick, and that was kind of the downside to these batteries. So you let them cool down for 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, depending on how hot it is outside. You could pop them back in the chainsaw and they would still have 2 bars, and you could keep cutting. But as we all know, in a real life situation, that would never be feasible. So basically, what I decided to do, I did a little bit of research, hopped on the internet, as per anybody would, and I ended up picking up a M18 Forge Battery, the 8 XC extra capacity 8 amp hour Forge Battery. Today we're going to be testing the differences between the Forge Battery and the extra capacity standard 5 amp hour battery that comes standard with most power tools. Just a quick size comparison there. They're quite a bit, it's quite a bit beefier. And I must say, Milwaukee, I do really like the new battery indicator. The LEDs look pretty nifty versus the old one, which this one's dead right now. I do have one on the charger for the purposes of the video, but just for the sake of size comparison, I have this one pulled out, and unfortunately I can't show you the power indicator, so I will make sure I show you that on another video. But I'm sure many of you have seen what the indicators look like on an old Milwaukee battery. These batteries have been around for at least 10-15 years now, so yeah, good on Milwaukee for keeping the same battery. Here is the chainsaw with the Forge battery inside the unit. Again, quite a bit beefier, a little bit heavier. There's the balance point if I'm just hanging it from the top handle. First order of business that I need to do before I even proceed with this video any further is top up the bar oil and sharpen the chain. So as much as I'm tempted to hit this trigger right now and see what this Forge battery can do, because I myself haven't even tried it yet, basically I got to sharpen this chain and start with a nice fresh chain. So let's quickly go do that and top up the bar oil. Alright guys, so we're in the shop, and basically with today, like I said outside there earlier, we're going to pop the chain off of the M18 chainsaw, give it a sharpen, and then compare the M18 extra capacity 5 amp hour to the Forge 8 amp hour battery. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay guys, we got the chain off here, bars off. So first thing I like to do when I take the bar off, any bar on any saw, doesn't matter, Stihl, Milwaukee, Ryobi, I like to just make sure the edges here don't have any flares or burrs. check for trueness, make sure they're not gouged. Any imperfection that's pretty minor can be just kind of fixed with a flap disc and a grinder. So again, just check the bottom. Make sure your end sprocket is spinning good. What I like to do actually is sometimes spray it with some WD-40. Yeah, just keeps dust and the moisture out of there. I know they do make the little, some of the bars have that little injector tip for the grease. I do have it for one of my other chainsaws. My Stihl MS170 has one of these. It's called a push-in lube. So yeah, it's just a little grease gun. It comes with some synthetic grease built inside, and then just this tip here just pushes onto the end. I don't have, this isn't the one for the Stihl saw here, but this is a different bar that I have sitting around, just so I can show you what that hole looks like. Where's it? There it is. So right there. So basically what you do, if this Milwaukee had one, you would just take this little grease gun, push it down into there, and squirt grease as you're slowly turning that little end sprocket. So if you didn't know, now you know. Not a lot of people know about that. Just one of those little things about that I learned along my journey of being a small engine mechanic in my past. So here's the chain for the Milwaukee, the 16-inch bar. So I have a chainsaw bench sharpener over there, and we're going to go ahead and do that. First thing I would like to do though real quick here is clean up some of the dust. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Now, one thing I would like to say also too, in addition to using brake cleaner, I do usually like to also use a little bit of compressed air. Not a lot. You don't want to blow the debris too far into the electric motor. I would say with an electric one you have to be a little bit more cautious, just as a general precaution. Just because of the brushes and stuff, I would want to try to keep the dust out of there as much as I could to prolong the longevity of the motor itself. So yeah, just something else, just mechanically speaking, that I would advise, being an electric chainsaw and all. So yeah, we're pretty clean here. We're pretty tidy. Bar's pretty clean. Again, I didn't have any burrs or anything like that, so I don't have to touch up any of the edges there. Makes it quite nice and easy. Okay guys, we're over at the sharpener here now. This is just a electric 110 volt chainsaw sharpener. I believe it's a Vivor from Amazon actually, so nothing fancy. Basically how these work is you just set the angle one way, you do all the left hand side teeth on one side, flip it around, do the other angle, and do all the right-handed teeth, and you're pretty much done. So I'm pretty much set up here on the angles that this chain requires here. So basically what I'm going to do here is do my first cut and just set my depth, basically to make sure that I don't do each tooth a little bit too far. So here we go. One other thing I want to mention too is when you're sharpening any chainsaw chain, you don't want to go hard at it. You kind of want to just feather it, taking the least amount of metal off as possible with a minimal amount of heat. You'll know if you're using too much heat. You'll be able to smell the metal burning, and you'll actually be able to see it too, and you'll actually ruin a chain if you do it too many times, and it'll go dull every time you want to take it out and cut, no matter how sharp it feels coming off the sharpener. I got a Sharpie marker here, and we're just gonna color the top of that first tooth that we just did. That way when it comes around again, I know that I haven't gone too far. We're all back to the black one. So what we're going to do now is loosen the bottom jig, and we were at 25 degrees on the left hand side. We're just going to switch it over 25 degrees on the right hand side. Tighten her up, and now still with the angle that we have set cutting this way, we can cut the right hand tooth. So once again, we'll go off of the one tooth past the one that I colored with the Sharpie, and we're ready to go. Sometimes, yeah, this first tooth doesn't want to line up 100%. So sometimes when you go right to left, some teeth wear more than the others. So all we got to do for that is obviously shut the grinder off, and we're just going to take this adjustment wheel here, and what that one does is it pulls this little holder piece back. So we just loosen the chain and we slowly adjust until we're taking off just the right amount of material. Keep a little bit of tension on the back of the chain here. We just want to make sure we're taking enough material off where, like I said earlier, we're not going to be burning it. The angle looks rather significant. Should be good again on 25 degrees. Just tighten that, lock that one down there, and we're pretty well ready to go. This first tooth is actually called your Riker, and then there's your main cutter. You want to make sure that your Riker tooth right there is not sitting higher at any point in the movement, because you want it, when it's going around your sprocket, it's supposed to move. At any point you don't want that to be any higher than your main cutter. So if it is, this one looks pretty good, but if it is, you would maybe want to take just a little nick down at 0 degrees, just to make sure that it's going to track true in the wood. So let's pop this puppy back onto the Milwaukee saw, and let's get outside with the Forge battery. I do find too, when you are tightening it, you want to leave it a little bit less tight before you put that nut and cover on, just for the simple fact that putting the cover and the nut on together definitely stiffen it up. You want to go on there. There we go. So again, on with the nut. Another trick I'd like to do, put a little bit of pressure on the upward portion of the tip. Definitely helps keep your chain tight. I'd say it's pretty good. It's a little bit tight. It's a little bit tight, but like I said, once things heat up, they will stretch out. So I think we're good to go here, folks. Just double check on the torque here. good and tight. Nice thing about this chainsaw too, has a little tool storage right underneath. Alright guys, I got some hardwood here we're going to cut up. Forge battery, like I said earlier, and the Red Lithium battery. There's the charge indicator I was telling you about earlier, the difference. So there's the old one, and there's the new one, just again for reference. So we're going to start with the 5 amp hour, that freshly sharpened chain. So here's just a comparison wide open with the 5 amp hour XC. Alright, and let's switch over here now to the Forge battery. So it sounds about the same. We'll see what it does when we get cutting here. Oh. See how many cuts we can get continuously. Saying 3 bars right now after 2 good hardwood cuts. I'm also not going to be any condoning of safety equipment. Just wanted everybody to know that should be wearing safety gear. Couple more cuts probably with the standard 5 amp hour, and then we'll switch over to the Forge. And there you have it, folks, right there. I have no power. If I go to hit the power indicator, it's showing that it's dead. Once again, if I pull the battery out, it's just quite a little bit too warm. There's no cooling technology like there is on the Forge batteries. So let's go ahead and switch over to the Forge. So I got the Forge battery here. It's got the vents on the bottom. Pop it in here, and I imagine we're going to get quite a few amount of cuts with this battery here. Let's finish the one from before. Let's go right through a knot on our first cut here with the Forge battery. Wow, that's quite the difference. That was right through a knot there, guys. Check that out. 2 knots right there. Yeah, this battery kicks ass. So I just cut 3 logs at about double the time. Saying I still have 3 bars of battery. Let's keep cutting through this Another chunk of hardwood. That's an insane amount of power for a battery. There's like no stopping. It just keeps going. It just keeps on cutting. That's incredible. Running out of room here. Incredible. Absolutely wild. What I'm going to do here is actually pull up this other log here. Just kind of give ourselves some more room. And then I'm actually going to cut a couple pieces here with the gas chainsaw, because who doesn't like the sound of a two-stroke? But all in all, I am crazy impressed with this Forge battery. There's absolutely no temperature difference whatsoever. Once again, oh, look at that. I checked the battery percentage here again, and it's still saying it's full now. So only under load takes a couple of the amps. And yeah, like I said, no temperature difference. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of good cuts out of this. That is quite the battery technology that Milwaukee has come out with. Kudos to them on finally impressing me with a battery-powered item. Now, that being said, it does come at a cost. This battery alone definitely costs about, I got an okay deal on it, but I definitely would say I spent probably about $50 to $100 Canadian more than I did on the saw without any batteries at all. So if you're willing to spend the price of a new gas high-powered saw on an electric version just for the capabilities of having it electric, definitely worth it. Paired with a Forge battery, you basically get the power of like a 12 amp hour high output with the Forge. And like I said, in the size capacity, it's a no-brainer. So anyways, without further ado, let's cut some of this log here with the two-stroke. Stihl MS170. I still just have the 13-inch pruner bar on here. Again, for when I go up to Ardbeg and I'm needing a space saver, this is my go-to saw. I'm hoping the Milwaukee with the Forge is able to replace that, all my needs of that, that I don't have to bring the gas along. But anyways, here we go.
I'm not sure how sharp the chain is, but we'll see. Definitely not sharp enough.
Well, it was worth a try. But since we went through all that work, we're back on the Forge, baby. Nothing but good things to say about this battery. Wow. Let's go over here. For me, we ended up getting all this wood there from last year's ice storm, 2025. About a year ago from now. I think it was March 28th, 2025. So we ended up scoring quite a bit of wood, as you guys can see here. We're still cutting and splitting through. The wood splitter needs a little bit of work on the engine, but maybe I'll make another video about that, swapping the engine over. It takes a vertical shaft engine, so I just have to line up the shaft and get the right size shaft for it. But let's cut through this big piece of, I would imagine it looks like oak maybe. Might be still pretty frozen into the ground. Seems like I finally pushed its limit on that one there. Kind of stalled for a second on me. Still saying 3 bars. Doesn't feel like any loss of power. I just think I was pushing it through and letting the teeth bite just a little too hard. Yeah, this log's frozen into the ground. Not much I can do with that. Pretty much that's all I really wanted to show you. Sharpening up the chains and cutting up some of this wood, showing you the difference between a Forge battery and the Milwaukee standard battery. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully if you were on the fence about buying one of these batteries, these Forge batteries, definitely worth it. In fact, this battery, it's been sitting on the ground. I'd say it's maybe 1 or 2 degrees outside here, and it's still warm. That's crazy. It does say we're back up to 3 bars here, so like I was saying earlier, once they do cool down, you could pop this back in and you'd probably get 1 or 2 more cuts out of it, but then the battery would need recharging. So definitely a good investment on the Forge batteries here. Highly recommend them. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks for watching.